Hi, are you Lou?
Hi. Yes, I'm Lou.
Hi, Lou. I'm Dr. Sarah Smith. Um, this is our first time meeting.
Yes.
Are you there by yourself?
Yes, my partner is with the kids.
Okay, alrighty.
Mhm.
Um, so I understand that you and Jess had appointments through our autism service and that Jess received a diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder a few weeks ago.
Yes.
Yeah. And remind me if you would, how old is she now?
3 years and 2 months.
3 years, 2 months. Okay.
Mhm.
That's that's a big event in a family's life. How are you guys doing with that?
I think in a way we're relieved to know what's actually going on, to be able to put words on feelings that we had, that something was maybe a little bit off. And now we're just hoping that we'll get the support we need to help Jess through like the challenges that she has.
Okay. That fits with what I understand our agenda today is, which is to talk about what now. So
Yeah.
Jess has had the diagnostic evaluation, and so we need to look at what are the things that might be helpful for her and for your family. So my intention is to talk about those things. Is there anything else that you want to be sure we talk about today?
No, I was just that's what I wanted to hear about.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start listing some of the different services. I'll give you a little description of them, and then we can talk about it, assuming that those are things you're interested in, my setting up referrals for those. So the first thing is what's called Hearing and Speech Nova Scotia. Hearing and Speech Nova Scotia is a publicly funded service that, among its other things, works with children who have been identified as having differences in their communication or their speech or language understanding. And one of the groups that they work with are younger children with autism spectrum disorder. They work with children until they go into the school system.
Okay.
So I'd like to get her on their list. I will warn you as I describe some of the services that there are weights involved for services that vary. And I saw the deep breath you just took, and yeah, I know you guys have already waited quite a while. I looked
14 months.
14 months, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that. I saw that you guys picked up on the differences early, and then there was this wait.
Which was apparently a short wait because we were actually in a pilot program. We got lucky.
Yeah, and it deserves those air quotes. Yeah, so what we have been doing as a service, because of a great discomfort with how long children are in some cases sitting on a waiting list for diagnosis, is we've been trying to see some of the younger children earlier.
Right.
There's pros and cons to that, as we're going to touch on. One of the positives I hope is for families to have that understanding that you described, which you've been seeing something different, and now have some confirmation and understanding, hopefully, of how and why. But it does also mean that the waits for some things, and one thing in particular that I'll talk about is longer. So Hearing and Speech Nova Scotia, that's pretty straightforward. We'll send that referral in. They'll contact you. The second thing that I'd recommend you folks get involved with is Nova Scotia Early Childhood Developmental Intervention Services. It is a service that comes to families or can go to daycares or preschools. They provide guidance to parents about things that would be helpful to promote children's development. So they see children with a wide variety of developmental differences. Autism is one of them. And they help you sort of look at how your normal day-to-day routines or play can be used to foster development. So it's not an autism-specific service, just as hearing and speech is not autism-specific, but it's kind of a more holistic approach to development. And those services would continue in place until uh, such time as Jessie goes into school, with the exception of the period of time when she's involved with the service I'm about to describe. So there is an autism-specific service for younger kids here in Nova Scotia called EIBI, which stands for Early Intensive Behavioral Intervention. You're nodding. You've maybe heard about that?
Yes, my friend spoke highly of that. She lives in Wolfville and has a kid with autism, and well, she was able to pay for
Okay.
private care, but it's really helped her kid. So we're really looking forward to this.
Okay. So it is an autism-specific program. Currently, because of resource limitations, Jess is not likely to be served by it until she's around age 4.5, which is I appreciate in the future.
Okay. Another year and a half.
I'm afraid so.
It just, you know, just had a crisis. We just dealt with it before the interview, and I just thought, breathe. Help is coming. And now it's another year and a half of wait. Just feels a little bit unfair.
Obviously, when I say I understand it, I don't understand it from your perspective, but I can imagine what that feels like. And I do want to tell you about EIBI so you know about it. I feel a little bit like I'm hanging something in the distance that's tempting and then telling you can't have it right now, and I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Maybe after I describe it, just so it's kind of off my checklist, we can talk about what are the things that are available again, and maybe what are the things you can do now, because I think that's going to be really important, is to focus on what you can do now.
Right.
And then we'll look forward to the EIBI involvement. So EIBI is the autism specific program. It uses a particular approach that seems to work really well to help children develop their communication skills especially, but also can help with social behaviors, problem behaviors. I don't know what your crisis was about, but they often are addressing things that contribute to crisis behaviors. It is a program that, as I say, children are typically at least 4.5, and it runs for 6 months.
6 months?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure our doctor told us it was 12 months, no?
Your doctor wasn't wrong. Previously it was a 1-year program. At this point, it's a 6-month program. That change was made because there was a big mismatch between the resources available and the number of children who needed the service. And the goal was to make sure that all children who had an autism diagnosis got at least 6 months of service. The service is available until children start school. Once they're in primary, they're not eligible for the program. So it was to try to get everybody seen by then. Yeah.
I just don't understand why there's not more money put into like that. Yes, we want to serve more kids, but we need to offer them like the proper service and in a proper timing.
I absolutely would not disagree with what you said. I would like there to be more resources available. It's a source of a lot of frustration for families. It's a source of frustration for those of us who work with children and families, that people are looking at wait lists, whether it's for diagnosis or for some of the types of intervention, and EIBI is an example. So I absolutely get where you're coming from there. Maybe a little bit we can kind of talk about some of the hopes and the strategies that maybe are worth thinking about to make a change there. Yeah. So all those things I mentioned, my job will be to put referrals in. Her name, Jess's name, will be on that list for EIBI for when it's her turn. You're comfortable with that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We want a program for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me describe just a couple of other pathways to information. So one of them is following our conversation, as long as you're comfortable with an emailed bundle of information. I'm going to send you electronically a little packet of information that our service has put together about a little bit about autism spectrum disorder, and then about some of these resources I've mentioned, and there's some additional information there as well that might be of interest.
Okay.
I'm a big proponent of Families Connecting with Autism Nova Scotia. So that's it's an organization that does a variety of things, including providing information for families with a new diagnosis, networking, especially networking with other families. There's so much value in that. Not all families want that, but if it's a fit for you and your partner, then I'd certainly encourage that.
We'd love to have to know more people.
Okay.
Who are having some challenges like us.
Right. And I know you live in a more rural part of HRM. And so the sheer math of it says there may be fewer people right around you that you can turn to. So this is a way of maybe helping with that. They also they provide some programming. They're programming currently in terms of where Jess is in her age group. At this point, it would be more kind of family oriented. They have some recreational events, but over time, many people who have autism spectrum disorder benefit from other types of programming, and they have a number of things for older individuals. And the other big thing is that they're the voice for autism in our province. So voices benefit from amplification, and so I think that one of the things that people can consider is being part of an organization like that speaks for the community, including about things like these resource problems and wait lists and all the rest of it. So that may not feel like your big priority right now. This is a newer diagnosis for you, and you may have other things on the top of the list, but it's something to think about over time, a way to maybe direct some of those frustrations in a way that I hope will make change.
I hope to.
Yeah. So connecting with them, I absolutely would recommend. Any questions about the things I've described?
No, it's pretty clear so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is hard to wait for things, but there are so many things that you probably are already doing it, but maybe haven't identified it as autism intervention, or maybe things you'll start to do more of when you've had a little bit of teaching or reading about things, because what parents do makes a huge difference. Kids live within their families, and that's where, in fact, the biggest contact time is. All of the therapists that I kind of have mentioned, whether it's hearing and speech or developmental intervention or EIBI eventually, they're all going to be helping you guys build skills. Mm-hmm. But there is still value in a little bit of what I'll call do it yourself, which is to do some reading if reading's a fit for you. Are you comfortable with that?
at this point, I will do anything to
Okay.
help Jess.
Yeah. I know. There is no love stronger than the love a parent has for their child. End of statement. There's one particular resource that I always say, if you're going to read one book about how to help your child with autism, read this one. I'm going to flag that one to you in the message I'll send you. It's a good one to start with, and it talks about motivation and some of the key elements. So it's something to maybe read, digest a little bit, share with your partner, so you guys can work as a team on this. Are there other people in Jess's life who are big care providers, like family or daycare?
Yeah, there's daycare.
Okay.
Yeah.
And have you shared the diagnosis with the daycare yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If they don't already have experience with children with autism spectrum disorder, they might like to even look at some of these resources. And once Jess is on the active caseload of the developmental interventionist, they'll also help. They go to the daycares and can help them also look at how to use play and routines. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that the communication work you'll do with hearing and speech, that absolutely, they understand autism spectrum disorder and can help you use the autism lens with the work that they do. Some of that work is group work, and some of it is individualized. Because of COVID, COVID.
The other thing.
COVID through challenges. See, we're supposed to use that word challenge. Challenges to all of the systems. Some wait lists got longer, and people had to shift how they delivered service. So sometimes still virtual support is being used, but I certainly wouldn't discount that. You and I are talking to each other virtually, and
That's true.
Because a lot of the work they're going to do is helping you figure what works best to work with your child. It can be delivered virtually. I put that out there because I know some families are really worried that virtual care is lesser, and it, there are some things that you want to do in person, but there's still a lot of good things that can be delivered virtually.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just one more twist to it all, I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's still reassuring to hear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else you wanted to talk about today? We will have other times to talk, but anything else that's in your mind now?
No, I mean, I'm looking forward to being able to read the material that you're sending, and I really appreciate, you taking the time to explain all these to me. I can sit down with my partner and we can try to figure out the next steps while we wait.
Okay, yeah. All right. There will be follow-up. So through our service, we do provide follow-up over time. So there will be chances to ask questions. I'd encourage you, if you do have a question, contact us rather than waiting for the next appointment.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
Okay. It was great to talk to you today.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.